Hi everybody, welcome back to Movie Scenes in Great Books. I'm your host Joy Victoria.
And I'm Christina Harris.
And today we are going to be talking about the Roman Empire, or better yet, we're going to be covering the movie Gladiator I today.
Yes, and Gladiator I was a very popular movie, well received by people all over the world.
Yes.
Still to this day, people love Gladiator. And the character that they love most commonly is the Roman general Maximus Decimus Meridius.
That's
and
right.
He wins a victory and he leads the Roman army against the Germanic tribes. But when he comes home to some pretty intense news. The emperor actually tells Maximus at the time that his son, Commodus, is unfit to rule. And so Marcus Aurelius is the current emperor, and he actually wants Maximus to succeed his own son, Commodus. So it unfolds in a really, really interesting competition between the emperor's son, Commodus, and the Roman general, Maximus Decimus Meridius. So this is an awesome, awesome film, and I'm so excited to get into this one.
Yes. And today we're going to be analyzing the film Gladiator I and looking at the characters and contrasting the characters who are in leadership positions. And we're having a discussion centered around 7 character traits that incredible leaders have.
You wrote to me once, listing the 4 chief virtues: wisdom, justice, fortitude, and temperance. As I read the list, I knew I had none of them.
Okay, so in this scene, Commodus first lays out the virtues that his father, Marcus Aurelius, had given him. Mm-hmm. And it was significant because he only wrote them to him once. In a letter, according to this movie.
You're right. He only wrote them once.
These are the actual Stoic virtues when you read about Stoicism. Mm-hmm. So these virtues are wisdom, fortitude or courage, justice,
and temperance.
Mm-hmm. So in this scene, you clearly see that Commodus lacks temperance, I think, more than anything.
Well, he said he knew he lacked
all
had none of them.
Yeah.
He had none of them.
Is he self-aware?
Ambition. That can be a virtue when it drives us to excel. Resourcefulness, courage, perhaps not on the battlefield, but there are many forms of courage. Devotion to my family, to you.
By his own admission, he's not courageous on the battlefield.
Which is
but
tough.
He said he's courageous in other areas.
In other ways that may include suffocating his own family, who he said he had devotion to. So he lists his own virtues as being ambitious, devoted to his family, which is a lie. And then he said resourcefulness, and then he's courageous in his own way.
But none of my virtues won your list. Even then, it was as if you didn't want me for your son.
Oh, Commodus.
You've gone too far. I searched the faces of the gods for ways to please you, to make you proud. One kind word, one full hug, where you pressed me to your chest and held me tight.
Ooh, he reminds me of a scary dog. Mm-hmm. When you go pick out a puppy, some people advise against the timid puppy because they say that one will be a biter.
Yes.
Commodus? Your faults as a son is my failure as a father.
Richard Harris going opposite Joaquin Phoenix right here. He was going toe-to-toe with him. He was sometimes just going toe-to-toe to him without saying a word.
Right. Did you know that Joaquin Phoenix was 24 when they shot this movie?
No way.
Yeah, and although he'd been acting since being a child, he said that he was so nervous that his voice was constantly trembling.
Wow.
He said he was so nervous that some of the takes, they just had to stop because he was shaking. He had never been on a production of that scale and level and grandeur, but man, did he kill it.
So young.
Yeah.
I would put to the whole world if you would only love me.
He's killing his dad?
Yeah.
No way.
He suffocates him.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That scene, that is a brilliant scene.
Ooh, that scene
And the
was
performances
riveting.
are riveting. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we're talking about the 7 traits of a good leader.
Yes.
And here in this scene, you see what the dad he saw in his son was not a good leader.
Right.
There were plenty of them that were apparent right in this scene,
Yeah,
of course.
right,
even
right.
to
And
the
we're gonna
point
talk
where
about
he suffocated his own
He
father.
suffocated his own father.
Really, you see here, he couldn't bow down to his father.
Right.
He took the advice from his father as, oh, he doesn't see those in me, but I have other things that are good for a leader in my own eyes.
Yes. So in this scene, more than anything, I think that you can learn that the fundamental law of leadership we can learn from this scene is simply respect.
Simply respect.
Yeah, simply respect. In an amazing book, which is John C. Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, he lists the 7th law of leadership as respect. So this is basically the idea that people follow leaders who are, one, respectable, but also respectful of others.
Yeah.
And I think it's very apparent in this scene where you have young Commodus
It is.
that he's not being respectful to his father, and he's never learning to sit in the seat of a student.
If you can't follow, you won't ever lead.
Yeah, that's right. Movie scene 2.
I must talk to the senators. I need their counsel. Wait, Gaius and Falco. Gaius and Falco. Sword. Sword.
Maximus, please be careful. That was not prudent.
Prudent? The Emperor has been slain.
The Emperor died of natural causes.
Why are you armed, Quintus?
Guards! Please don't fight, Maximus. I'm sorry, Caesar has spoken.
So can you explain to us what's happening in this scene?
So here you have it all happened so fast.
Yes.
Commodus suffocates the emperor and he starts calling shots. So you can see the loyalty inside of these people is for Maximus.
Oh.
Because they're used to the favor that he has with the emperor. But Commodus is the emperor at this time.
Right.
And so by law, they're trained. And so they're into just law mode right here. Because you can tell their face is like, some of them are like, are we really doing this right here? Are we really betraying the general that has always led us to victory in many battles?
Right until dawn. And then execute him.
Just look at me. Look at me! Promise me that you will look after my family.
Your family will meet you in the afterlife.
And enter in a 35-year-old Russell Crowe who was incredible. It's really funny because I was watching an old interview of Russell Crowe, and he says that he rewatched Gladiator numerous times, but recently he felt embarrassed watching himself in his performance.
That's funny.
Which is like, if this is an embarrassing performance, then what's an excellent performance, you know?
Kneel.
Blessed Father, watch over my wife and son. Whisper to them that I live only to hold them again.
At least give me a clean death. A soldier's death.
I actually see that he was very intelligent. And I think it's smart because if it wasn't for his intelligence, he asked for a honorable death. And that's what he was able to get out. And when the guy was going to get ready to stick that sword in the back of his neck because he said he wanted a clean death, he laid down, and that was the time he took the move. And he grabbed him, and then the other guy, he hit the other guy with the sword. And then since it was freezing times, his sword was stuck. And that's how he was able to get the other guy.
Oh, he was smart.
So he was smart. He was trained. Things. He was skilled.
Good eye, Joe.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was cold.
They forgot who he was.
Praetorian!
He just left. Oh, he coming back?
Not a good idea.
Did they get him? Did they get him?
Whew. Can we talk about Ridley Scott here?
Yeah.
The director of this film. And he actually is just one of the best. You can go by, technically, he's one of the higher grossing directors.
Yeah.
And you see why here. Just his perspective. I mean, he's well known for just the atmosphere that he creates when he's directing.
The environment feels like a character, and I love when directors make the environment feel like a character.
You took the words out of my mouth. When a director can make you feel like you're sitting right in the middle of the film, they're just awesome at what they do. And him in this film several times, the perspective.
Yeah.
You feel like you're standing there waiting for the horseman to come by you, and you have to time that sword just right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You feel like you're him looking home for his family.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He creates that longing, that yearning, that fear, that anger.
So one of the biggest Stoic principles in ancient Stoicism is actually being prepared for adversity. So it's kind of the mindfulness that bad circumstances occur. You're not always in an ideal situation, but it's being prepared to take on that adversity, which I think kind of links to a big principle of leadership, which is
intuition. Yeah, you're right. Because here, he doesn't have time.
Right.
But like Joe pointed out, he knew what to do with each and every one of those guys.
Yes. And I think when you're ready for adversity, it's kind of like a lot of businessmen say this phrase. They say, there are fires every day in business. Okay. Which means things go wrong all the time in businesses. And if you're prepared for that each day, you're ready to take on the adversity versus kind of being stuck, frozen, and caught off guard when something adverse to what you had visualized happens.
Exactly.
So when you visualize adversity and you kind of prepare yourself to detect that around you, you're so much more ready to take it on.
So when you go in there knowing that part of this is putting the fires out, that keeps you on your toes in intuition.
Yes.
So that a businessman has to be a good leader, and intuition makes a good businessman a good boss.
And what's a great thing is Maximus, you can tell since he's in it, he's experienced. Something you can't make up for is experience. He's experienced. And that's very important too. You got to put the time in.
And experience gives you intuition.
Yeah. And I think when we talk about intuition, it's also being prepared to kind of listen to that intuition, that inner voice, that inner instinct. So I think it's quieting your mind enough to be able to hear your own thoughts and inward thoughts.
Definitely.
So let's take a look at movie scene 3.
Let's go.
All you do is kill, kill, kill. The crowd don't want a butcher, they want a hero. We want them to keep coming back. So they just...
That's a shame.
It's unbelievable to know that this was like peak entertainment, that the common person would even go support.
Some of the fun facts are, during this time, Russell Crowe, who played Maximus, sustained several injuries during the filming. It included he broke his foot and he had tendinitis. In some scenes, he actually wore prosthetic limbs to hide his injuries. Oh, nice
I'm gonna
move.
cover your eyes.
He doesn't want to kill.
Right.
He just kills because he has to.
Because he has to. And
Yeah, it's a
doesn't
different.
the Bible say something like evil men love bloodshed, or is there thirst for blood or hunger? It's,
That's why people's at the Coliseum. You understand? It's that same energy.
Literally, like
the Gladiators was popular because people like to see violence. That's a very deep philosophical idea if you really think about it.
Yeah, it is.
But go ahead.
Okay.
Eight dudes.
we need to cover both of our eyes and the viewers' eyes. No.
And you know, for me, it's nothing sadder than seeing someone pushed into killing and bloodshed when their heart is not there.
Yeah, that's
when
tragic.
they don't want to.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
What are they saying? Savior? Wow.
This scene, I love this scene.
And it starts out really good. Like I said again, Ridley Scott. And then you see from the beginning of the scene, it was this feeling of disgrace. This feeling of who the emperor wanted to be, the successor, put in the position of a slave and an entertainer. And that is a more, just servant role, not nowadays.
Yeah.
But then he goes and, does what he does.
He gives the people what they want.
He gives the people what he wants.
And then he looks at them and says, are you not
An
entertained?
iconic line, right?
Yeah.
That was an iconic line.
Yeah, and I love
Are you
that.
not entertained?
Are you not entertained? And leaning into this disgraceful circumstance that they placed you into, him saying, are you not entertained, shames them.
Yeah.
I think that this clip encapsulates the next principle of leadership, which is magnetism.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's that ability to captivate the crowd, to interact with the crowd.
They were drawn to him.
To engage with the people no matter what circumstance you're under. You're a slave, but you just demand so much respect as a figure of authority.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another word for that is charisma.
Charisma, yes.
He had so much charisma.
Yes.
He was charismatic.
So leaders have to have charisma.
Yeah.
Your fame is well-deserved, Spaniard. I don't think there's ever been a gladiator to match you. As for this young man, he insists you are Hector reborn. Was it Hercules? Why doesn't the hero reveal himself and tell us all your real name? You do have a name.
My name is Gladiator.
How dare you show your back to me? Slave! You will remove your helmet and tell me your name.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix Legions, loyal servant to the true emperor, Marcus Aurelius, father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next.
This reminds me so much of a scene in Roots where the main character, Kunta Kinte, who has been enslaved, is given the name Toby. And there's one scene where he's being threatened by his slave masters if he doesn't claim his name Toby. And he keeps saying over and over again, my name is not Toby. So much to the point that they cut his toes off and bring him into torture because he won't
keeps saying my name is Kunta Kinte.
Yeah.
I want to hear you say it. Your name is Toby. You're going to learn to say your name. Let me hear you say it. What's your name?
Kunta Kinte.
And he won't claim the identity that they're trying to assign him. And that, what Maximus is doing here, is integrity.
It is integrity. Definitely, he has connection.
And what do you define connection as in the sense of being a leader?
Personal devotion inside of people to you.
Yes.
So you can see the little boy felt that way. He just feels personally connected to him. You can see the princess up in her royal seating place up high looking down, and her heart is for him personally. They said live. You see his men standing behind him, and they're so personally connected with him. They did not want to lose him.
Gotta go with the people. He didn't want to.
That just ate him up inside.
Yeah, and I think you can only cultivate that connection if you exhibit the other leadership quality, which is integrity, which here Maximus displays integrity in terms of just being true to who he is. And I like the word integrity, and if you think about the root word of that, it means everything is integrated. So there's no compartmentalization to how you live here versus here.
He kept it real.
And no matter what happened or how even who's currently the emperor here responded to Maximus, he said his true identity, who he truly was, what circumstances they truly placed him in by murdering his wife and his son, and he was unashamed in claiming his true identity.
And it reminds me of a scripture that says the righteous are as bold as a lion.
Yes.
So he knew he didn't have any wrong in this whole ordeal. And he kept himself right. That's why his dad wanted him instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he had integrity. He would not have suffocated his own dad like that.
So you like Commodus' outfit?
I do. I'm sorry. I have to put that out there.
I'll get you one for your birthday.
Really?
If I can find it.
In John C. Maxwell's book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, he has this principle, which is the law of sacrifice. And it's the idea that a leader must be willing to give up to go up, which is the idea that in order to ascend higher, or even for the people who are entrusted to your leadership to ascend higher, you may have to give up something.
Sacrifice.
In this scene, what Maximus was giving up was truly his very life to eliminate this tyrannical emperor that the country was under. It's so interesting because in this scene, he has both the will to die and the will to live. So he really wants to be quickly out of his misery so that he can go on to the next life to see his wife and child. But he musters up the strength and the courage to see the victory fully through.
He was seeing home.
Yeah.
And then he like snapped out of it and came back and gave him a slap, a
Yeah.
few slap elbows, and was like, I got to get rid of you first. Oh, gotta get rid of you before I go. Wow.
Yeah, I think leadership always has a mission. So if you're going to be a true leader, he fulfilled his mission. So Maximus had to get rid of Commodus. And whatever you need to do, every leader has a mission. There's an aim, there's a direction, there's something that needs to be fulfilled. And like you said, I agree. I mean, he was in between two different feelings. He wanted to go to the afterlife.
Yeah.
But he needed to fulfill his mission. And as soon as the mission was fulfilled, then he can go on to the next.
Yeah, that's right. And that leads you to our last principle of leadership here that we're talking about, which is victory. So people want a leader that pulls out the W, that pulls out the win, the victory. And sometimes that means making so many sacrifices and sacrificing yourself as a leader.
Yeah.
That's
in
why,
order to get victory.
Yeah, and throughout history, I think that most of the great leaders have been martyrs because they gain the victory at the expense of themselves and their own lives.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Wow, this was an excellent film.
Excellent film. I must say, my one thing with this film, I'm not even going to say complaint because it's spectacular. How can you complain about this? But I've done a lot of research because I was always wondering, was this based on reality at all, or how much of this was even based in reality at all? And the fact that Marcus Aurelius, who was, a real emperor in real life, he did have a son, Commodus, or who was the heir to his throne. And Commodus did not murder his dad, y'all. Like, he's totally framed here. I feel bad for Commodus because everyone thinks he killed his dad because of this movie, and he did not. Putting that out there to clear Commodus'
and
legacy.
He gets cast in doubt because I'm like, did he?
But anyway, spectacular film. No more complaints besides that.
Do you guys know where the film was actually filmed?
No. Where was it?
Do you think it was filmed in the Coliseum? How do you think they did that?
The movie looks like it was filmed in the Coliseum.
I just assumed it was.
Yeah, it says right here. It says the film used real locations and massive sets to recreate ancient Rome.
Wow, that's
and so
incredible.
the Colosseum was partially built in Malta.
Wow.
With the rest filled in using CGI.
Again, we learn the 7 traits of a great leader.
Yeah.
And all of us should want to be a leader in our own way. And this is a great book by John C. Maxwell.
Yes.
Becoming a Person of Influence.
And John C. Maxwell makes the point here that no matter who you are and where you are an influencer. You're influencing someone in your realm. So this book is a great addition to your leadership collection. If you already have the 21 Laws of Irrefutable Leadership, I definitely recommend this one. It's a great follow-up to that.
Yeah. Joy, and tell them about the great interview that we have upcoming.
Yes. You guys are definitely going to want to tune in next week. Speaking of leadership and just cultivating these qualities in yourself, we have an incredible interview with some of the stars of the upcoming movie, The Forge. This is all about claiming your spot in today's world and how you're going to emerge to be a leader. It's also about modern day masculinity and manhood. So it's a very worthwhile interview, and I hope that you all will watch it next week, as well as
a great self-improvement. Great if you have sons or grandsons. Do tune in.
Yes. We're excited for that one.
Sure.
We'll catch you here next week. So we will see you guys. Thank you for watching this episode of Movie Scenes and Great Books. Bye, guys.